Okay,
Episode
let's go.
4, All Hail Queen Bey.
Well, proud of you.
Good morning, good morning.
Good
we
morning.
are ready to roll.
We are. No, we're not. Because,
Why not?
technology.
We're ready. Let's do
It's
this.
not my friend today. I
So,
really wanted to be a singer.
good morning. Whoop, whoop.
Let me say this. I wanted to be a singer, but God did not want me to sing like in public. So I'm a shower singer. I don't sing like what we're doing now. But let's talk about who has one of the most amazing voices in this industry, in this profession. I think we all know who it is.
All hail.
All hail the
Queen Bey.
Queen Bee, honey. Yes. And
Beyonce.
why are we hailing Beyonce? Because she graced us not only with the Renaissance tour, which unfortunately I did not have an opportunity to go to.
Same here.
It was just, I was just too busy. Like, I just could not. It's been grind mode, everybody. So, anyhow.
I need to be able to maintain this lifestyle. I'm trying to tell you.
We're expensive.
Yes.
Okay?
I have to tell you about something.
What?
2 days in a row, real quick, because it just literally it made me think about this.
Okay.
I went 2 days in a row to Starbucks because I just love my Starbucks, but I love my home coffee that I make at home. So anyway, I go one day and the next day I go to the same Starbucks, no makeup on, not fabulous, okay?
Okay.
And the young lady at the window tells me, "You're the lady, I remember you, you're the lady that looks expensive." And I said,
Yes.
Okay,
Remember
sis.
me as expensive,
I
man.
said, well, thank you. Yes, this is me. But I was just blown away and I wasn't expecting that. But, because I wasn't looking my normal self. But I said, obviously something
What
gave
is your
her.
normal self? What does that even mean? Are you saying like you weren't like all dolled up?
Wasn't
you
all
didn't have
dolled
your
up,
makeup
no
on.
makeup
The
on.
lashes wasn't popping.
Lashes are always
the
popping.
lashes are always okay.
But
okay.
no makeup, no lipstick, just, workout gear. I mean, hair was cute, but that was it. I mean, I'm just looking like, hey, just stepped out the house real quick, because I do that.
Because
happens.
you can, okay? Because you're fly like that and you can.
Well, I appreciate that, sis, and so were you. So finish telling us. I'm sorry, I deviated.
So coming to theaters, and it's not like your standard Regal cinemas. It's gonna be like the smaller ones. From what I'm understanding, I might have to go back and look, but they were referencing like a theater that I had not heard of. So I'm thinking it's gonna be like these like one-off ones. But anyhow, it said 2 days. It said December. I heard one say December. I heard one say like the end of November. So look towards the end of November, December. She's coming, and I'm excited because I was not privy to an in-person performance, and so yeah, I like this. I like when she did her homecoming tour. I watched that, like, I was really like a stan, like I had my popcorn, like I had my drinks, I was ready, I was involved, I was at a real concert in my living room.
I remember watching it too from my own living room, and I was like, yes,
I know.
yes, sis, yes.
She just, I'm gonna say this about Beyonce, like I think that people either like her or they don't like her.
Right.
But you cannot deny the talent.
She's definitely a showwoman.
That this woman has been blessed with. She is just inspirational, motivational, which we touch on, some motivation later in this pod. But yeah, I just think that watching her go from like Destiny's Child to now, and her daughter's on stage performing with her, and it's just a full circle moment for me as someone who's been a fan of hers
from the beginning. Was it 1998, 1999?
Honey, I don't know, but I'm a survivor. Listen, all of it.
Can you pay my bills? Telephone bill?
Pay my automobile.
And
then maybe we can chill. Right.
Yeah.
We need to go back to, I think men need to go back to those days. Like, women need to start setting their standards a little bit higher. Sometimes I think it's a little, I'm not going to say too easy, because I guess it's on both parties, right? Men and women. But yeah, let's go back to that, ladies. And men too, right? have some standards for yourself.
I've always had them, honey.
Well,
Listen,
listen,
if you didn't like it or not, it's
I
always
think-
going to be there.
I think that as time goes on, you start to like just society and the way that things are done, which, you know, kind of leads us into our next topic, which I think for most people, they may have seen this clip on social media.
I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, I had to send it to you, but Brittany,
Cringe. That's all I'm going to say is cringe.
what? No, Sean. Okay, so here is the backstory. Brittany Renner. Okay, now Brittany Renner, I first was introduced to her, I think, on social media some years ago. She's a little cutesy girl, and I believe she's kind of had like a spotlight because of one, how she looks, and also like who she's dating. Maybe it's like an athlete or someone in the entertainment industry, but either way, the point is she went on Shannon Sharp's podcast not too long ago, and the clip that was like viral was her saying that she slept with 35 men. Now, that's a lot for me. That's a lot for you, Nishan. However, if we take a step back and we look at people who are in like the sports industry, the entertainment industry, the music industry, I don't necessarily know if that's the bar. Like that 35 is like the very, very low threshold end of it. And I was a little taken aback because Shannon, who clearly was like a professional football player, you know, he's had more bodies than Brittany Renner. But he was just so shocked and surprised. Like, you haven't done much work. So I want to know, like, why is there, how do we get past these stereotypes? Because they're old and they're dated and they're exhausting and I'm sick of them.
I think this is why he kind of gasped, and he said it. He said it's one thing if you had this conversation between you and I, but when you now put it out there in front of everybody, especially on the platform that she's on, people gonna look at you a certain kind of way. Is it, especially as a female? Because with men are very territorial, okay? They want, it's almost like a dog peeing on its territory to mark their territory. That's how men are.
This is dated
I understand
mentality.
This
is dated thinking.
I know it may be dated, but it's the reality, which is why he gasped.
It's somebody.
And that's why he was just kind of like, most men don't want to, most men already know that you may have had sex with people. Fine,
right.
Whatever. They don't want to know exactly how many. For men, it's a little different. And I'm not a man, obviously, but I have brothers. I have 4 of them. Okay. And I heard how they would talk. I know how they move. Okay. So it's one of those things where it's like, just be careful because you don't necessarily want to be treated as a pass around. Because essentially, that's what he was pretty much kind of telling her. Like,
I don't know about.
I mean, he's pretty much saying this, like, yo, that's cool that you did what you did, but everybody don't need to know. That's not something that you need to make public knowledge. That's just his opinion. That's what he was saying. I'm on the sidelines just cringing.
So
like, what?
How do
why?
we? So okay, fine. You can cringe, right? You're
Right.
entitled to that. But how do we move past it? How do we move past those stereotypes if we don't have the conversations?
Well, Pliers said
that
it wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
Pliers, the rapper.
Not pliers, honey.
Yes,
Plies.
he
Plies.
commented.
Did you call him pliers like a tool?
Hey,
Y'all, stop.
I thought he was known by Pliers. No? He'll probably come for me. Well, listen.
Sean, I'm
Sorry.
about to.
Okay, so listen.
Stop. We're gonna move on.
He commented and said 35 is not a big deal.
Okay, but like.
Okay.
And here's the thing.
It's opinions.
She doesn't need validation from another man to tell her that that's okay. And I think that's what I'm getting at.
She sounded conflicted. First she said she's not marriage material. Then she said she's looking for true love. What do you want, sis?
I'll
she
say
sounded
this.
conflicted.
Regardless of what she's looking for. She's only 31. Let me just say that. She's
And that's
31. Shannon Sharp is freaking 55. Okay, so I think in general, there's a huge age gap and like he's lived a lot more life. So yes, he's gonna have some different views and perspectives. But also, my thing is this. The conversations are what I think remove those stereotypes, and that if men can sit around and talk about whatever it is on whatever platforms they want to, women should be able to do the same thing and not receive the same judgment. And I don't think that occurs if we keep it in these private conversations like Shannon was alluding to. I think that you have to have it out loud in public so that you know that it's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with exploring your sexual curiosity, whatever you want to call it, as long as you're being safe, which, you know.
And we talk about how she had sex with 3 men in one day and had a yeast infection. Who cares? Why do we need to know that, man?
That part was way too, that was a little TMI. That was TMI. I get it. But I think that not shaming someone because that was their choice sexually, I think that we also have to be mindful of that and not shaming people.
It's not even about shaming.
I do
in my opinion,
would I ever share that? No.
Yeah, why do we care?
I would never share that. But if she chose to share it, don't kick the girl down. Don't talk mad junk about it. Like, just don't do that. She's still a person at the end of the day. She has a child, and again, I get that this is, you know,
a part of. She didn't even want to have.
She was younger, and she said that when she was younger she didn't want to have kids, and now that she's gotten older she wanted kids. So people are allowed to change their mind. I think that we got to stop doing that too. Like, yes, I may have said something when I was young, and then as I'm aging and, you know, learning about myself and life.
So that goes to my point. Her mindset's gonna change.
And if it does, it does.
She may say all the things that she's saying now that, you know, she doesn't think it's a big deal and who cares and blah, 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 blah. But over time, life will show her things differently, and she will most likely change her stance on it. I didn't even know anything about the story. I mean, I heard bits and pieces of it. Now, when you brought it to my attention and I looked at the video, I'm just kind of like, why is this even news?
Yeah.
But okay, it's news. And she thinks it's important to share. Me personally, no. But that's me and that's her. And
I think that these are healthy conversations. I think that they're needed conversations, and so that's all I'm going to say about. Oh, fantastic! Sorry, guys. That's my boyfriend texted me, and my phone should be on silent. Anyhow, the other thing I wanted to get to is as we're talking about, you know, women who were. It was all about the women. It was Beyonce, and not saying that Brittany and Beyonce are in the same, you know, whatever, but
they're not in the same class.
They're not, but they're both women, so we'll give them that. But moving on to the next woman who had everybody up in arms at the Chiefs game the other night, supporting her boo. I think it's her boo.
Oh, I think they are together.
Travis Kelce. She's sitting up there with the mom, and she's cheering on, and I really don't even know what. Like, I don't watch the NFL by any means, but that's all I heard about was Taylor Swift at the game. And I think the only thing I'll say about this is that there was some conversation around, and I don't like even pitting women against each other, but whatever, it's already out there. They took his ex, okay, Kayla Nicole, and I wish I had a picture to show. This girl is bad. Look her up on Instagram. She's bad to the bone, like bad. So.
Showing you a team.
And she's a black woman. She's a black woman. So that's the other thing. So when people saw Travis with her, we kind of gave Travis like a pass. Like, oh, he's okay. He got a little swag to him. Like, he's a cute. He's not an unattractive individual. So we gave him that. But she definitely increased his swag by like 1,000. And I think that he was accepted by like black women and into the culture because of her. And so now that he's allegedly, supposedly, who knows, dating Taylor Swift, I guess the comments are like, it's a downgrade. Like, he downgraded. If we're just basing it off of looks, to me, it's a downgrade. There's no way you go from Kayla Nicole to Taylor Swift. Like, I don't even think that you actually, you can't like that much of a difference in people. Like, they are polar opposites.
Well, hold on a second. What is Taylor's net worth?
I said looks.
I know.
I said looks. I didn't. But also, I'm not here to talk about the okay, Taylor Swift makes X amount of money versus Kayla Nicole. That's not what we're here to discuss, because she'll beat her there all day long. And so if you're
all of those things are encompassed in when you're trying to determine, and when you say downgrade, she's
on looks. I was very specific. I wasn't specific
that.
about everything else. I think that's where people were getting confused, because what I think people were referring to when they said downgrade was
she
solely
makes
based
enough
off of
money
looks.
where they can change them looks.
Okay, Michonne,
they
realistically, she's not changing her look. It's Taylor Swift. She looks fine. I'm not saying that the girl is ugly in any sense. I'm simply saying, if I'm comparing apples to apples, it is not Taylor Swift. It is Kayla Nicole all day. And I question Travis Kelce, because how do you go from a Kayla Nicole to a Taylor Swift?
Maybe it's her personality.
Girl, goodbye. It's not her personality. You saw he done been on I done seen him on every commercial known to man since this little duo of him and Taylor done happened. What do you call, what would you call him?
I don't know if it's really truly a downgrade, because it seems like doors are being opened for him.
Okay, again, I didn't say it.
I know what she said, but I'm also saying that there's more to it than that, obviously. I mean,
but I feel like this is also, was it like a PR stunt? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this is all that has been talked about on the national news, local news, social media. It's been all over. I'm done with this.
Rick Ross shot his shot.
With who?
With his ex-girlfriend.
With Kayla?
Yeah.
What?
That was said.
I didn't see that.
It was out on Instagram. I saw it, where he apparently shot his shot. Now, whether she responded, that remains to be seen. Maybe we might follow back up next week about that.
No, listen, if you go from Travis Kelce to Rick Ross, I question you as well. Like, listen, people are just out here doing whatever I see. And
I mean, look at Nelly. Nelly went with Miss Jackson, and now he's back with Ashanti.
Miss Jack. Oh,
the girl he was with for 3.5, maybe 4 or 5 years. And
but
she was wanting to get
he
married.
was always in love with Ashanti. They were always meant to be. We're glad they're back together, because they're so cute. But
Miss Jackson may feel otherwise.
Well, she'll be all right. I don't even remember her first name. What's her first? I don't know.
I just know her by Miss Jackson.
Honey, Miss Jackson is reserved for Janet only. Do not ever refer to anybody other than Janet Jackson
as
Miss Jackson.
I'm just repeating what the girl was called.
She can call herself her first name, but it is not Miss Jackson. That is only for Miss Janet.
Well, okay.
So yes, but anyhow, that was my little. That was all over my social media, so that's where I went with it. But we're gonna move right along, and I see here that, oh gosh, you put the student loans on here. I don't even want to talk about those.
Well,
I'm pretending like they don't exist.
Well, it is October now. They have now become, the moratorium has been now lifted, or shall I say the freeze has been lifted, and so payments have resumed on October the 1st. So
look how our energy just shifted. Our energy, the life got sucked out of us. I mean, we were on a high, and I feel like we're on a low. And this, I blame. Look, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna move on. Joe, I am still waiting for my student loan forgiveness. That is what you sold us on when you were running for president.
Oh my God.
And now, nothing? We're just gonna resume everything like it's back to normal? I'm not paying you all. I'm gonna pay you the bare minimum, and that is it. Like, student loans should not exist. I think that we should have had a free education in general.
Or not be as expensive as it is. I
don't know. There should be something. I just don't. It seems ridiculous. I don't even do anything with my communications degree. It's such a. You go in at a time where you don't. How am I supposed to know what I want to do for the rest of my life at 18? Who set this trick up to make me think that this was going to be the place that I should figure it all out? in 4 years I should figure everything out and then have a mountain of debt after that.
And then they try to solicit you by selling you credit cards.
And
that's how a lot of people get jammed up with bad credit decisions, because they use these credit cards to help, make a means to an end, whether it's to buy gas, buy food, just to survive while you're in college. And then next thing you know, you've acquired some debt because you probably don't really know how to use your credit card or how to utilize it properly.
And you're killing your credit score because you're not paying anything on time.
Correct.
Your utilization rate is over the 30%.
It's all set up.
Here's the thing. I thank God that I had parents who kept me on the straight and narrow when it came to stuff like that. So I never had those issues.
Yeah.
But do I have, what I think is a ridiculous amount of student loan debt? Yes, I do. And again, you guys can keep sending me whatever you would like to tell me the payment is. I'm still going to pay the bare minimum to get by. And that's just what it is.
Well, there's 2 ways apparently that you could try to, negotiate a payment that is suitable for you based on your income. It's called the IBR, which is income-based repayment. It's where they take a look at what you're currently making, and that's how they're able to decipher exactly what your payment would look like. So that's one avenue.
They need to make it look like zero.
Then they also, there was a question that said, how can I get my payment to $0 a month?
Yes.
Well, there is the SAVE program. So apparently through the SAVE program, there are certain measures that are set up to make sure people are not going to go even further into debt while trying to pay off student loans. And so the IBR is under the SAVE program. So that's something you definitely want to ask about if you're trying to figure out what your payment looks like, but definitely try to jump on it while you can, because now the interest that was accruing during the time when the pandemic started and now to September 30th, the interest was frozen. Now interest is starting to accrue daily. So definitely try and jump on that if you haven't, and figure out, what that payment looks like, because when you're trying to buy a mortgage or buy a home, and you're trying to obtain a mortgage, we do have to consider student loan debt.
How much? How much? Because it matters how much.
Well, if you're going Fannie, we use 1% of whatever the balance is. 1% of, so that's how we calculate your payment. 1% of whatever your balance that you owe. If you're going Freddie, it's a half a percentage that we calculate the payment. So those are things to keep in mind. So that's why it's
who does
important.
Fannie fall under and who does Freddie? Say is that
Fannie Mae is it is a government organization that we underwrite our loans under their guidelines. Same thing with Freddie Mac.
I'm saying, is it like FHA, VA, THA, like which?
So it just depends.
Okay.
It depends on what is the best avenue for that particular loan that we're working on. So you could have conventional, could go either way. If you're doing a conventional loan, we could underwrite it based off of Fannie Mae, or we can underwrite it based off of Freddie Mac.
Gotcha.
If you're going FHA, typically we do run that through Fannie Mae. If you're going USDA, we run that through the Guaranteed Underwriting System, also known as GUS. So those are the models that we typically utilize and submit.
Okay. Well, I think the thing there is it's a small percentage. It's taken into account, and yes, you should be in good standing and you should be paying on it, what have you. But don't let it freak you out. It doesn't mean that you can't get approved for a home if you have student loans. It just means it's going to be factored into it.
That is correct.
Yeah. I don't want to freak people out because I came across that and I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Amazon. Amazon is coming to Alcoa. Now, I actually thought that Amazon was not coming anymore.
So apparently there's 2 fulfillment centers. There's one on the east side over at what used to be East Town Mall.
Yes.
They tore that mall down.
Was it Knoxville? Did they call it the Knoxville Center? I think it got changed to the Knoxville Center.
My husband is from the east side of town, and a lot of our friends and people that we know are from the east side. I have always heard people refer to the mall as Easttown Mall.
Yes.
And so they tore that mall down. They turned it into like a strip mall over there. And apparently Amazon Fulfillment Center was going to be over there, but for some reason I think Amazon had some internal things going on, and they never opened up that fulfillment site. But apparently they've built another site in Alcoa, and they've opened it up, and apparently they had a job fair back on the 22nd of September, and they were looking for part-time and full-time people because they're trying to hire over 250,000 people.
That's amazing.
Which is great for the Knoxville
really good
area.
What is the starting rate? Isn't it like 20 something for?
I don't know. I just know that they had their job fair. They were looking for people because of our upcoming holiday season, so they're looking for people, desperately looking for some assistance. So I hope that folks went out and took advantage of getting, even if you're looking for like a part-time job or something. I mean, they were looking for full-time and part-time, so hopefully they had a good turnout.
That is a tremendous, that should be a tremendous help for a lot of people who maybe are in places where they're maybe not seeing an increase in their salary or income. And I think that would be a really good option for a lot of individuals to potentially see some growth and their revenue that they take home yearly. And with the cost of living just increasing everywhere, it is beneficial to have things like Amazon come to see the benefit of bringing the facility here and creating jobs for this community. That's only going back into our economy here within Knoxville, and so that's always a good thing of bringing in more jobs. So that is to me that is just stamping our growth here in Knoxville and the expansion of Knoxville. Companies don't come here and bring in 250,000 jobs if they think that the city has nothing to offer. So when people talk about, the rise and what we're seeing in costs and housing and groceries and what have you, yes, those are, we're used to a certain way, but those are actually good things to see in the economy here in Knoxville. It's a great thing to see. So anyhow, that's pretty amazing. This next topic, I will say that I love me some wine. I did not know about this place. So it's already opened?
So it's already opened. It opened back in August. We're talking about the wine presence here in Knoxville. Apparently it has grown in the last few years. And I didn't really get a chance to mention all the other wine bars around town, but the one specifically that opened up in Farragut, it's called the Sparrow Wine Bar. And right next to it is a cheese shop. It's called the Euphoric Cheese Shop. And so these two spots opened up in Farragut back in August of this year. And apparently there's other wine bars around the Knoxville area too. So, if you're wanting to get out, with some friends, even some girlfriends, co-workers, you name it, a client, or if you just want to celebrate, check out the local wine bars in the area, and you might like what you see.
That's interesting. I would not have, I guess, when I think about wine, or any sort of beverage, I always think about just going to a restaurant. And I think we have plenty of restaurants here in Knoxville. So to have things specifically catered to things like wine or cheese shops, I like that is its own entity, and it's kind of separating itself from the restaurant industry. So I'm here for stuff like that. We should probably have a list of the different wine bars. I should find the list because I'd like to go and taste some different wines. I would say my palate is not as refined. I like more sweeter wines, not too sweet though, because I can't, but when it's paired correctly, from what I have heard with certain foods, you could essentially like a drier wine and it would have a nice flavor to it with what you're pairing it with. So just learning about that.
That's true.
A good old sommelier is what I'd like to become.
There is a wine that I had at Point B It's called Mayomi, I believe, and it is a red wine, but it's kind of in between dry and sweet, but you can,
nice
it
mix.
tastes so good. And I was rather surprised. My husband and I, we happened to go one day. We just wanted to go to Point B here in Knoxville. If you're ever in Knoxville looking for a nice spot to go to for food or just the atmosphere,
A vibe. It's a vibe.
Point B is the place to go. And they also have a really good brunch. And on Sundays they have live music.
Oh, do they?
Yes, it's typically, I want to say, from 6 to 8.
Oh, I did know that because I know someone who actually was performing there one time. Okay.
Yes, so if you're looking for something to do on a Sunday evening, you just want to go and have dinner and listen to some music, Point B of Knoxville is the place to go. But we went in there one day, tried the wine. We were talking to a guy that we met at the bar, and he shared a bottle of wine with us. And I was like, "Oh, this is good."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So check it out. Check it out.
You'll have to send me the name of that wine so I can check it out next time I'm there. I was just there this past Saturday with brunch with my sister, and we always do the mimosa board, which is, and we were outside. It was like the perfect fall crisp weather, but not,
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's a good one. What is not a good one, what is not a good thing, is the vacancies that are needed to be filled with Knox County teachers. And, my son goes to Knox County schools. He goes to Cedar Bluff. And, I do get that, like, hey, how was school today? And, oh, my teacher wasn't there. We had a sub. And this has been kind of ongoing since they came back from COVID. So it's still a shortage out there, and it only hurts the kids to not have consistency. And so, I know people who are in education, and it's such a needed field for the young people coming up in this world. And so, if anyone is needing a job who's an educator, apparently they're out there. So.
Yeah, we hope that Knoxville can fill the gap because they have over 100 teacher vacancies. So we hope they can fill that gap.
That's a lot of teachers that are needed.
That's
and then that means that the other teachers have to work
hard,
twice as hard, maybe 3 times as hard,
or double. Yeah.
Or they're having to cram all these kids into classrooms, and that's not the best learning environment that could,
for everybody involved, the teachers, the kids.
It's a stressful situation.
It's a domino effect.
Oh my goodness.
The pandemic unfortunately really uncovered a lot of issues that I think a lot of people weren't aware were there. And I think it brought a lot of things to the surface, and I think it also, a lot of people got burned out, like you mentioned, which is why a lot of people they're gone.
I think also, if you pay these teachers their worth and their value, you would see a lot less turnover, and you would have those vacancies filled immediately. But you want to pay them pennies on the dollar for all that they do. It's unacceptable. They should make the same. I get the public education and the funding is completely different versus like a private organization, like a hospital or what have you. But they should not make less than doctors, lawyers, anyone in a service industry like that. Whether you're a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer, a police officer, a firefighter. I do think that when you're giving back to the community in such a massive way like you're doing, that you should be compensated beyond fairly. I don't want to say fairly, but you should be beyond, it should be more than the average. So anyhow, it's unfortunate because it only affects the kids at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's something we'll definitely have to circle back and talk about because I think this is a reoccurring issue. Real quick,
we're winding down on our time here.
Yeah, we'll probably have to pick back up with motivation on our next episode. But one of the things I definitely did want to talk about real quick before we get into our tips for real estate and mortgage is the Rise to Thrive Knoxville event that's coming up October the 17th.
Super excited.
At Bridgewater Place from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Definitely, if you're a real estate agent and you're watching this podcast or you're listening to this podcast, definitely come out and and listen to this event. This is for you. We have 4 speakers. There's going to be 4 speakers that's going to be at this event, and they're all in the industry, real estate industry, and they're going to talk about all the tips, and they're going to pass on their experiences. They're going to pass on ideas, tools that you can use in your toolkit so that you can increase your business and be more visible, get in front of more buyers and sellers, and make a killing in your industry. So it's dedicated to empowering you guys with knowledge, tools, and connections that you need to survive, but also thrive. So you don't want to miss out on this event. The ticket prices for this event is $10. If you follow me on Instagram, there is a link on my link tree which will take you directly there where you can purchase your tickets through Eventbrite. But don't miss out. October the 17th, 12 to 3, and we're gonna have a happy hour at Point B afterwards.
Yes, I'm here
And
for the happy hour.
yeah, it's gonna be a great time.
And we'll bring this up again as we're kind of getting closer and closer to it. So
yes.
it'll be a hot topic for sure. I'm looking forward to it. But
What's your tips?
in reference to just some tips for buyers, you know, we're in a market right now where we still have significantly lower inventory than you know, across the country. And so I think that a couple of things that buyers should focus on is figure out what your budget is and stick with it. Like, don't increase it, decrease it. Like, know that I don't want to be past $500,000 or whatever that looks like. Figure it out and stick to your budget. That's number one. Number two is determine where you guys want to be. I think Knoxville has a lot of different places that you can live, but figure out what's important to you. You know, I've had conversations with clients, and typically ones who have children, it's all about schools. So I think that's a good place to start. And determining what are your wants in a home versus what are your needs. Okay, you may be a first-time home buyer, so maybe you can't have everything you're looking for, but figure out what's truly important and go with that, right? Next is be ready to make a decision quickly. While I feel like, again, we have I know we have lower inventory, and yes, you can say that the interest rates have kind of slowed people down, but not really. Again, we don't have a lot here, so it's always, you might see some multiple offers. And so be ready to act quickly and make a decision. And then be competitive with your offer. Listen to your agent. If they're telling you that this particular house, you cannot ask for seller credits. If it can be worked out with your loan officer to determine what that cost would look like, then do that, right? I get that there's obviously every situation is different, but make your offer competitive. And then last, again, find you an agent. That's the first thing. You know, don't go through this process without an agent. We are only here to serve you in your best interest. So make sure that you find you a trusted agent to work with. Right here, me. Okay. But anyhow, yeah, those are my tips.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna talk about what we kind of talked about before we went on air. You know, I'm having conversations with a lot of clients, and a lot of them are either apprehensive because of rates, and they're like, oh, the rates are too high, this and that. I get it, they are. However, this is what's not going to change: the price of houses. They are going to continue to get higher and higher, and the longer you wait to make a move to get into a house, you potentially will price yourself out, meaning you probably will not be able to afford the houses because they're continuing to go up. A lot of that has to do with the inventory that Krista touched on, but the other issue that a lot of builders are running into is lack of workers, right? They can't find enough people to build these houses fast enough, right? Because the folks that are already working, they're already overworked, kind of like what we talked about with teachers, right? Same thing that's happening in the building industry. And so there's not enough builders to meet the demand, so which is why inventory is low, like she mentioned. And so what's happening is those costs are being transferred to the consumer, meaning you. And so if you have the ability to get into a house now, do it now. Deal with rates later. Rates are always something that you can always refinance when rates start to come down. There is talk that rates potentially will come down at the beginning of the year. So that's why it's imperative, if you have the ability, if you're pre-approved, go ahead and get going. The other thing is, if you're not sure about wanting to get pre-approved because of what we just talked about, go ahead and get it done, get pre-approved. That way you know exactly where you stand, how much you qualify for. So that way, if the house pops up, that you want to get into and you're like, this is where me and my family want to be, we want to live here, you're already in position to put an offer in.
Yeah.
She will be able to do that for you because you've already done the work with me. So don't stop yourself because of all these things that you're thinking about or seeing on the news and you don't think it's attainable. Every day that goes by, it's just going to further widen the gap. Don't allow the gap to be too wide where you miss out completely. So that's my tip.
Yeah, I love that tip.
Yeah.
Well, again, another fabulous episode.
Yes.
4, I had to think about it. Well, we're making, I remember we were at 1. Now we're at 4. We are moving right along.
Because we don't play about it.
I know. I'm
we
excited.
Be about it. We have on pink, by the way, because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That's why we didn't even talk about that.
I
But
know.
we talked about that last time. But yes, this is why we are wearing the pink today. And really, I'll probably just do pink for the rest of this month, anytime we're recording, just to support, because it's such a huge thing that a lot of people go through. And so we want to bring that awareness. We want to show that support.
Yeah.
So we will be wearing our pink and
for the rest of the month.
But as I always say, I'm Krista Leverett, your local real estate agent here in Knoxville. So should you have any buying, selling, or investing needs, hit me up.
And I am your contact for a mortgage lending needs. My name is Nashawn Wright. I am your loan officer. If you have any needs for refinancing or even purchasing, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be glad to help. And until next time, guys, have a great week and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and tune in next time for episode 5.